Hey, this is Lisa with my jungle journey. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be doing video number 2 in my mini series about what it's been like here for me the last 12 months, because I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary and I wanted to lay it all out there. Different things that you might find interesting, helpful, or laughable. So sit back and let's get into it. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be a little more in-depth information about how I got my vehicle and what I needed to do to get it legal. So, as you may remember from the first video, in that first one I was talking about how I was going to need transportation when I got here, really for physical reasons. As at the time I was still on a cane and I needed a solution, because walking to a bus stop and taking that transportation, which is excellent here, was not a very viable option for me at that time. So Sarah Elena, which I referred to in the first video, and I'll also put her information down below, she was the middleman through everything. She took the vehicle, she met with the woman that was selling it, who lived down in Cortez. She met her, and they went to a mechanic to have it checked out, which, as we found out later, maybe it wasn't as complete a job as it should have been, but that's another story we'll get into later. And that was one that didn't end up on the video, we'll put it that way. That was my first and only trip with this vehicle up to San Isidro, so we'll get into that one later. Quite an interesting story. Okay. So she took the vehicle to be inspected. We had a little list of some very minor things that needed to be fixed, and then I decided to go ahead and to purchase. And she did the arrangements with the lawyer, with the owner, and she acted as liaison. Nobody had power of attorney here, and I couldn't leave the country yet because it was during lockdown, so no flights were coming down. It was that kind of a time. That was summer of 2020. And so we needed to find a workaround, and this is what we did. So while they were in the office, then the money transfer occurred there in front of the attorney. I had made arrangements with my PayPal account managers to open up and make sure that that large of a sum of money could be transferred using PayPal, because it turns out the prior owner of the vehicle, she had a business account with PayPal. That isn't always the case here, but if so, it really makes things nice. So we did it that way. And then when I did come down, I came down with my best friend, who is also named Lisa, and I call her my sister. We've known each other since the first day of 6th grade. We met at the bus stop, and we have been like twins ever since. So she's been adopted by my family and vice versa. So anyway, we came down together. She took 2 weeks off from work so she could come and help me get my feet on the ground and get myself established and set up, which was a wonderful, wonderful thing. And we had a lot of fun. So we flew into the airport, and we had a friend meet us who ended up driving us to Jaco from San Jose in the middle of the night. It was pouring rain. There were landslides everywhere. It was quite an interesting, adventurous first night here in Costa Rica. And we got to Jaco, and we stayed with Sarah, actually, for a couple nights. And I had Kat in tow as well, so Katerina, that's my kitty's name. She had quite a trip. And I guess I should probably talk about her as well. I mean, bless her heart, I felt like I traumatized her, but I know she's snapped back and she's very happy. But you know, anybody that's ever tried to put a pet into a carrier and take it on the plane, of course they weren't putting the pets into cargo bays anymore, you know, down under the plane. So she had to go under the seat in front of me, and you know, that's not much room. So granted, she was not a gigantic cat, but still, she didn't have much wiggle room. Neither one of us did. So that was a very interesting experience. But she did fantastic. And so by the time we got to Jaco, we were all ready to stretch our legs, all of us. And from there, we ended up having the attorney that came to her house, and we sat down, I think it was the next day, and we did the transfer of the title and kind of through a two-step process. But anyway, got that all taken care of, and then both of us, Lisa and Lisa, we drove down to Dominical, and that's where we stayed. We stayed at a hotel called Villa's Real Mar, and beautiful place to start out with. And they were doing a COVID special because it was still, you know, where people were trying to find places to distance themselves from others. And those people that were stuck here and not able to get back to where they had come from or whatever, the hotel was giving an offer for people to kind of, what is the word again? Good gracious, quarantine, or, you know, kind of separate themselves. And yet you had everything you needed, you know, the amenities, of course, but laundry services and all sorts of stuff. So it was a great place to land and start from. So I do want to say a couple of things that I wanted to point out about the vehicle. If you're going to get a vehicle, make sure you shop around. Most importantly, though, that you use an attorney. And there's a couple things about that. Number one, you want to make sure that the transfer is done correctly. One thing that I didn't know is vehicles, you have one license plate. Doesn't matter who the owner is, the license plate always stays with the vehicle. Now, living in Florida, growing up in Florida, all of that, you know, you get different license plates. So here, though, the license plate actually is the way that authorities and anybody that's interested, that has access to the database, they can see every bit of information about the vehicle by the license plate. Of course, who it's registered to, but that's not as important as having the vehicle registered. So you've got two things that make that vehicle drivable and legal. And that is, number one, the marchamo, the taxes, they need to be paid in December every year. I think no later than January. I'm not sure about that, so don't quote me on that one. But pay your marchamo, the value tax on that vehicle in December. And then there's another one that's an inspection of vehicles are done once a year, and that's according to your license plate number. Like mine is due in March, and it doesn't matter if my name, if it was registered in my name or if it was registered in the prior owner, that reteve is what that's called, has to be paid in March. If somebody were to see that you don't have that sticker and you're driving that vehicle, you're going to be stopped more than likely at some point in time, and you're going to be fined. So you don't want to hassle with that kind of stuff. So keeping things legal is excellent. The attorney's going to make sure everything's done properly, and also going to be able to verify that yes, the money did exchange hands, and so you're good to go. So that's kind of everything in a big old ball of wax. And see if there's anything else I wanted to mention about. Yeah, I'm sitting here, I'm remembering the whole issue of finding out that I needed a little bit more work on my vehicle than what we were led to believe. So that one, I think I'm going to tell you that story in the next episode, volume 3 of this little mini series. That's definitely worth telling the story. I wish I had video of it. I have some pictures of it sitting on the side of the road, but it's okay. I think my facial expressions of terror and horror will probably be fine. So anyway, I know I'm exaggerating a little bit there, but stay tuned and you will find out what I'm talking about. So let's say real quick, I'm going to put my blurb out there. Please, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of this silliness. And I hope to see you on the next one, okay? All right, have a great day. Pura Vida.